This is the April 4th meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. This is our 5:30 starting into our study session. So we'll call this meeting to order, which I just did. And if you could please stand for the invocation. We have Chaplain Davis that's going to share that. And if you could please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
With bowed heads, oh God, we do thank you. We do praise you for this day that you've allowed us, oh God. And we ask you, oh God, to allow your will to be done in this meeting. Oh God, bless every participant and let thine will be done. And we will absolutely give you glory, honor, and all of the praise in your holy name. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Marissa.
Good evening. Councilmember Lyons.
Here.
Councilmember Orr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick
Here.
and Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, this is our study session. We have SS-1 Sigma Proposition 218 hearing. Mr. Olson.
Yes, Mayor, item number 3-8 on the consent calendar, approval of the new street sweeper. We have some public comment for that.
I don't think your mic's on. There you go.
Yes, item number 3-8 on consent calendar is being pulled for public comment on a letter the city clerk received.
Okay,
When you get there.
thank you. What do we have for the Sigma proposition for 218 hearing?
Yeah, so good evening, Mayor and council members. On the Sigma Proposition 218 hearing, so the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, we have to come up with funding to submit to state and meet the requirements for the Sigma legislation that's mandated by the state. Currently, the city pays roughly the $56,000 on behalf of our ratepayers to fund that Sigma process. Well, the board that represents the South Fourth Kings, which we are a member and part of, they need to go out and we're going to be assessing a $20 per acre parcel. The goal is to assess $20 per acre. It's currently at $9.80. So this will, in essence, double the amount of money that the water fund, the enterprise fund, would have to pay. So what I'm here to ask from council is, do we want to continue to pay that out of the water enterprise fund? And when we did our bond back in 2016, we did put $700,000 set aside as part of that rate increase to pay as we go for capital expenditures. So this kind of fits that mold, but that's where we've been funding it out of for the last several years. So what I'm looking for tonight is just consensus from council if you want us to participate in the 218 hearing, and then it would be assessed via taxes and through the county, or if we want to continue just to pay it out of the enterprise fund and issue a check annually or quarterly to the Sigma.
Any council comments?
How much was it again?
We're paying about $56,000 a year right now, and it's going to go to about $112,000. It's $9.80 per acre or is the assessment now. They're attempting to go after, and I don't see why it wouldn't pass, but a $20 per acre assessment.
The only thing I would add is that if we choose to participate in it this way, we would not have to go, the city would not have to hold the election.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
Would not have to hold a what? Election.
A partial election. In other words, we would pay our portion of that to Sigma out of this fund. Well, I guess what we've been doing, right?
Yes.
And so the GSA is going to have to go out to the entire GSA, excluding the city, for the additional funds. per acre.
Okay,
The GSA has previously passed the 218 process several years ago for the $9.80 assessment. At that time, the city opted not to participate in the 218 hearing, and we just paid it
Ourselves.
out of our enterprise fund. So now that it's going to $20, which is doubling, do we want to forego the 218 process and pay for it out of our enterprise account? Or do we want to participate in the 218 hearing and let that go out? Now, I will say before you give me direction is we currently have one well that's under construction that needs to be completed and 2 additional wells that are running, but they're rehabbed and we're probably on our last repair. So we, in the very near future, 4 to 7 years, will have the need to replace 2 wells within the city.
at $1 million a piece, at least.
No, it's like more like 2.2 million a piece.
And you were saying, when you say replace, you mean pull the whole thing, new lining, the whole.
No, I'm saying dig new wells, 150 with a minimum of 150 feet away from the current location. Just the current line, everything there's beat up from subsidence. We're constantly crushing. We can't pull them anymore. Every time we try to get the well out to rehab it, we're having to go in and do swedges, and the wells are all, I mean, typical well go about 20, 30 years. We're well past that on a lot of our wells. And we've had 2 rounds of rebuilds on wells since I've been here.
Plus, the current situation isn't helping the wells either in terms of water issues. Yeah.
How much do we have left of that 700,000? Do you know off the top of your
Oh,
head?
I'd have to get that for you. I do know right now the water enterprise fund is pretty healthy. It's got a balance. I'll get the balance to you, but the fund's healthy currently.
Okay. Who sits on that GSA?
I do.
I'm gonna heed towards what are the pros against going into the hearing? Or what's the cons, I guess, would be
Well,
is there a lot of them?
the con would be having to go out for an election, and the cost of that, as opposed to using the mechanism we have in place now to take care of our obligation to the GSA in terms of the municipality. The other issues that we're going to have to face down the road are we're going to have new wells, and that's just a fact of life. And
We had that regardless though, right?
yeah, regardless.
Right.
Yeah, that's just an issue.
But we pretty much fund those wells out of our enterprise fund. So it's just,
With our rates
it's
and all
a
that.
$500,000 if it comes to fruition in 5 years for one well, it's about be $550,000 or so that we wouldn't have in reserves if we opt to pay this out of that.
Yeah.
Whereas if we go through the 218 process, then it'll go to property owners on their taxes. So the city saves from spending that money, but it's going to hit our ratepayers as an additional fee. That's really the gist of
It
it.
hits it either way, either monthly or.
Yeah.
Ratepayers pay for it anything anyway.
Well, right now it's included in what they're paying, right? Our rates are set.
It's included with.
Yeah.
So it's already included.
Yeah,
So
I get that, but
so if we keep it in-house and just pay it out of the enterprise fund, it's quick, easy, it's clean. The con of going out would be going out to the hearing, which one can risk failure on the ballot. And if it fails, then we're substantially in trouble because you don't have the funding to keep doing the mandates to keep the state from coming in and telling us what to do with our water in the agricultural community and who can pump what and how much. So we lose all local control if we don't maintain our agency, our South Forth Kings GSA.
I guess the other positive or pro for us keeping it in-house is that the current GSA, along with 7 other GSAs, are on probation with the state. In terms of we're not compliant with what they want us to do. So the current GSA is in the process of becoming compliant in terms of things we have to do. I guess my comment is that we need to become compliant so that we don't want the state telling us to do what they think we should do with the water any more than we think we should do with the water. So that would be the reason I would say we keep it in-house rather than.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, either way, it's a lot of money. Yeah.
I'd be happy to give my recommendation.
But that was gonna be probably the second or third question.
Well, with being, we do have healthy reserves right now, I think, and this will probably be what, a 5-year deal? I believe before it would have to come up again. I think we do have the bandwidth to support it in-house and save our residents a little bit of money over the next few years.
That's the way I was leaning.
Okay, I'm good with it then.
Need a motion or just?
Yeah, I need direction because I need to let the GSA know if we're going to participate or not. So I just need
In-house.
a majority to.
Before we give direction, we'll open it up to the public comment. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Alex Walker, City of Lemoore. I personally, after hearing in my own understanding of our GSA and our needs, I would support having the city stay on the water enterprise fund for this project, but I did want to ensure that the city manager feels that if we were to have to replace our wells in the future, that we'll be able to support that need as well if we were to stick to it.
Yeah, this won't be a showstopper for us and replacing wells in the future, not.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Go ahead.
Thank you, Jennifer Solis, 757 Redwood Lane. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The question I had was what Nathan said, that we have the money in the fund. Correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is the money is in the fund because it's projected that we have those expenses. And so maybe I'm just thinking about like the TTHM and the plants and all that kind of stuff. And I know it was like $35 million or something. And sorry, I'm kind of going off the top of my head. But the rates were based on the projected expenses is my understanding, which was money that we need in there. So even though we have reserves, is it going to be needed and when is it going to be needed? Because I'm concerned with us spending money that's already kind of allocated for a future expense, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll bring it back to council. Unless you want to close that, Nathan.
Like I said, the 700,000 that we built in was in addition to the projects that we took as part of the 218 process. So I mean, we can always spend the money we have in the bank. There's always something to do. So it's just really about managing our money and our assets and replacing things as they're ready to be and not before. But this over the next course of the few years, if we opt to just continue on the path we are, will not have an impact on us, our ability to keep the system up.
Even though it's the amount is raising $50,000 to $60,000, we should be good.
Yeah, because it'll basically be, instead of having that $700,000 year cushion, I'm down to a $585,000 cushion, and give or take on those are averages, guesses. Some years we spend more, some years we spend less. And then, of course, we'll always go out and look for grant funding. We're constantly going after grants for water and wastewater infrastructure. So.
All right, council, what kind of direction are we going to give?
In-house. That's my vote.
Mr. Orr?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's keep it in house. That'll be my vote.
Mr. Gornick?
Yes.
I agree.
I have my direction. Thank you.
City council applicants for District B. Ms. Avalos.
Good evening. As you are aware, we do have a vacancy on city council for a city council member in District B. Consensus was received at the March 7th meeting for us to recruit for an applicant for 3.5 weeks. So we recruited. The deadline was March 31st. We received 4 applications. one applicant did withdraw, so we do have three in attendance tonight to present and introduce themselves and have the opportunity to present to council on why they should be selected. So each candidate will have 10 minutes. I'm going to start in alphabetical order. So the first one is going to be Mr. Dave Brown.
Thank you very much. Mayor, council member, and the citizens of Lemoore. My name is Dave Brown, and I live at 89 Devon Drive in Lemoore. I'm retired, married. Me and my wife, we have 6 children and many grandchildren. The reason I submitted my name for the position is I feel that I have the qualifications, the integrity, the ethics to do the work and to serve the people of Lemoore as city council member. I have the knowledge to start work immediately without a learning period, as I have held the position before. I will serve and represent all the citizens in my district and the city of Lemoore to the best of my ability and will give you 100% always. I'm retired from the Air Force and approximately 2 years ago retired from the Naval Civil Service at Lemoore Naval Air Station. During my enlistment in the Air Force, I worked in aviation maintenance and decided to change my career path, retrained and worked in civil engineering, utilities engineer technician. While working with the Navy Civil Service, I worked at Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command as a mechanical engineer tech for both utilities and facilities, and retired as a real property officer out at Naval Air Station Lemoore. I also held the elected position of Lemoore City Council, served as a member of the Planning Commission, served as a member of ad hoc committee for the city of Lemoore, and years back served on the downtown architectural design review committee for the city. Currently, I do volunteer work in Lemoore and the surrounding area. My education, training, and special knowledge, which I feel is relevant to this appointment, is that while in the military as an enlisted member, I studied applied sciences with the Community College of the Air Force and Airport Management with Hawthorne College of New Hampshire. While serving on council, I attended 2 California League of Cities educational conferences, and 1 as a planning commissioner. During my career, I received training in management, communications, leadership, transportation, road design, construction, mechanical, utility design, planning and estimating, facility operations management, aviation safety, airport management, real property management, community planning, real estate agreements, and easements, mutual aid agreements, municipal infrastructure operations and maintenance. While serving as a council member, I represented our city on the Kings County Commission on Aging, Kings Economic Development Corporation, Kings County Area Public Transit Agency, Kings Vehicle Abatement Committee, the San Joaquin Valley Air Quality Control Board Special Selection Committee, and the South Fork King Sustainable Groundwater Management Act JPA Board. I understand our type of government, city council, city manager form of government, and how to maintain a good working relationship between the two. I understand our city planning from our general plan, our city codes and ordinances, to how to obtain a permit and our fee structure. I understand our financial system. I understand what the difference is between the general fund, enterprise fund, and our other lines of funding and how these lines of accounting work within our many departments in our city. I understand how each department works inside our local government and how they get their funding. I understand the annual financial report. I understand how the internal workings of our city and their services they supply. I understand how our city works within our county and our state and how the funds come back to our city from county and state. My principal area of interest in city government are economic development, public safety, budget, fiscal responsibility, drinking water quality, city infrastructure quality. It includes utility infrastructure, both city and non-city owned, transportation, strategic planning, community planning, communications infrastructure, education, and the city services to the public. To also maintain a good working relationship with the government and non-government entities, both internal and external to our city. I believe I will be an asset to this council as my experience as a council member, planning commissioner, and active member on boards and commissions as a council member. My past work as civic and my civic experience has provided me with the tools to start work immediately. I am ready to represent District 3 and the citizens of Lemoore. I believe I understand our current council's strategic goals and objectives and will be able to contribute to this for its success. I understand the workings of every department in our city, the relationship between the city and business, industry, ag, education, NES Lemoore, West Hills College, county, state, and our neighboring communities. I am ready to serve and represent our city in a respectful, honorable fashion, to be part of this team and to better our community. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Council have any questions for Mr. Brown?
I would just recommend that if you're going to ask questions, ask the same question of each applicant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next applicant is Mr. John Garza.
Good evening, honorable council and fellow citizens. I stand before you today as a candidate for city council, and I am humbled by the opportunity to serve this community. I believe that I am the right person for the job, and I would like to share with you some of the reasons why. First and foremost, I am deeply committed to the city and its residents. I have lived here for many years and I have witnessed firsthand the challenges and opportunities that we face as a community. I am passionate about making this city the best that I can, or that it can be, and I'm ready to work faithfully to achieve that goal. I attended West Hills College here. I'm a graduate of Fresno State. In addition, I have a proven track record of leadership skills and community involvement. I have served on various boards and committees, and I have worked with many local organizations to address important issues facing our cities today. I am currently the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services for the Calinga-Huron Unified School District. My leadership skills consist of overseeing all of our district administration, all of our secretarial staff. I also oversee our school-based mental health services, as well as write the local control and accountability plan. In order to write the plan, it is imperative that community partnerships or community involvement is included in the process. We engage our educational partners to gather their feedback. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Gather the feedback for their children and the communities that I serve. I will do the same for our community of Lemoore. It is if given the opportunity. In my current position, I have also demonstrated my ability to collaborate effectively with others. And I believe that I can work productively with my fellow council members and city staff to make meaningful progress. City council members must maintain high ethical standards and act with integrity at all times. They must be able to avoid conflicts or interests and put the interests of the communities first. If you were to ask anybody who knows me, they will tell you that I always put others' interests first before mine, and that I'm a very private person with a high level of integrity. Just ask the people I golf with. Integrity is always tested in golf when no one is around and looking. I also know that as city council members, we need to be able to analyze complex issues and develop innovative solutions that take into account the needs of all stakeholders. I am a great problem solver and will always keep the community's interest when making decisions. There's a great deal of fiscal responsibilities that city council members have. As the writer of our district plan, our LCAP plan, I ensure that taxpayer dollars are used wisely and that the finances are managed responsibly. I will do this for our city. I'm a good listener and communicator. I am also able to listen to community concerns and will articulate my positions clearly and persuasively. Finally, I have a vision for the future of the city that I believe aligns with the hopes and aspirations of its residents. I want to work towards a city that is more sustainable, equitable, and resilient, where every resident has access to the resources and opportunities they need to thrive. In conclusion, I believe that I am the right person for the city council because of my deep commitment to this community. My leadership and community involvement, my skills and experiences, and my vision for the future. I hope that you will consider supporting me in this endeavor, and I pledge to work faithfully to serve the people of the city if elected. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm assuming there's no questions if we didn't ask questions that were asked.
What?
That's a Mary question.
I got a question.
Yeah, but you would need to give Mr. Brown the opportunity to answer the same question. That's my recommendation, is that when you ask a question, make sure that.
I remember Dr. Gornick.
Okay, if Mr. Brown wants to answer this question, he can answer it too.
Okay, perfect.
But you have school board meetings for Clinton?
Yes, I do.
Are they in conflict with our meetings?
No, I checked. They are second and fourth Thursdays. Here is the first and third, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, you want to comment on that? You got any school board? meetings?
I'm retired.
Okay.
I want to be retired.
So the third candidate is Mr. Parrish Cope.
Hello, everybody, Madam Mayor, Council, citizens of Lemoore. I have been living in this community for 16 years. I have been serving the nation for over 30 years. And when I saw this opportunity to serve the citizens of Lemoore, I thought it would be an interesting opportunity to leverage some of my skills, some of my background to help form and shape what we're going to do in the future. In contrast to some of the other candidates, I do not have that kind of experience. I don't come open the first day ready to do this job, but I would have the opportunity to come in with a fresh set of eyes, to look at problems from maybe a different perspective, to maybe gather data from the citizens of not only the district that I live in, which is B, right, but also the rest of Lemoore, to figure out what it is that they see that we're doing well, what is it they are concerned about, and to try to take that data and to put it into an action plan that this council can make some real progress with. The city of Lemoore is important to me, and it would be an honor for me to serve. And that's all I have. Thank you. Did you have the same question for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta ask it.
That's good.
Okay, and I do have the time to do it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. I will open up to the public for any comments. Of course, Mr. Walker.
I have a comment, Madam Mayor.
Sometimes I don't know, is it going to be Mr. Walker or Mr. Reed? Which one?
Well, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank all three candidates. Me personally speaking, leadership is effort and care. And I think all of them put effort and care in showing up today and coming out tonight. And I really do deeply appreciate it. Whomever you select as a successful candidate, I hope that you keep that in mind with not only like being able to provide a fresh perspective for city council, but that they hold those virtues of leadership that I hold dearly and that the city holds dearly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? No? All right. All right, we'll bring it back to council. Online.
Jennifer Sykes.
Mhm.
Sorry, I can't unmute myself. And the only reason I'm saying this is because the mayor was like, really? Nobody? And I just want to say I'm impressed with the candidates. I thank you for not only sharing this evening, but sharing your information in the applications and the agenda. I'm impressed with our options. And so thank you for applying in the short term. And I look forward to seeing you, one of you up front. Thank you.
Thank you. So we open it for nominations, correct?
No, that's later on.
Oh, later on, sorry. Trying to
That's it.
get ahead of myself. So no other comments? All right, we will move on.
Close.
Back to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. The time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and opens the item to the public. So is there anybody that has regular public comment, Mr. Walker?
At the risk of embarrassing myself, I'm going to quote a song. Hey, it's me again. Anyway, on behalf of the Lemoore Rotary Club, I'm actually here to issue a challenge to our current council members. On April 15th, that's a Saturday, Lemoore Rotary is partnering with Sleep in Heavenly Peace to build 20 beds for our community. At the last year's crab feed, our community was so gracious to donate money to fund this project. These beds are going to go to Lemoore families and Kings County families, so no kid sleeps on the floor. I had provided the city clerk handouts that has the details of the address and the time and all that good stuff. We will be providing donuts and coffee as well as lunch, and I really hope to see all of you out there. We'll put you to work. You'll be building the beds, but if you just want to also come out there to support our team, we're going to have the Rotaractors out at the middle college come out to get some community service. It's going to be a fantastic event for the community. We're really proud of this project. We've been doing it for 3 years now, and I'm very deeply humble to be able to provide this space for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
When is it again?
April 15th.
April 15th. Yes, that's a Saturday.
What time?
It'll be on the flyer.
Okay.
What's the challenge part? You said challenge. You threw that word out there and you perked my ears up, but then I didn't hear
The challenge is for you guys to show up.
Oh, easy peasy.
You guys talk about service. You guys talk about doing things for the community. This is where you can put the money where your
On
mouth
the
is.
flyer.
Show up and put you guys to work.
35.
We'll
So
provide all the tools and supplies.
So you're saying you don't need any money?
No, this is
No, that's
no, this has
fine.
already been funded by the good citizens of Lemoore and those who attended our crab feed.
Oh, it's in hand.
Challenge accepted.
Excellent.
Any other public comment? Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members and city staff. My name is Benjamin Kaikina. I'm the president and CEO for the Greater Kings County Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted to take this moment to say thank you to our mayor, Patricia Matthews, and council member David Orth. Recently, these two council members dynamically led a discussion with downtown merchants to determine some action for the revitalization and sustainability of our downtown. And that has been very monumental as a step forward between our business community and our city. Furthermore, I would like to share some information regarding an upcoming chamber function. Recently, our organization did make the decision to rebrand Pizza Fest, which is now classified as Lemoore Days. And this event will be significant in the fact that we can celebrate the resources and richness of the community of Lemoore for families and for businesses alike. We highly encourage that each of you come out and enjoy yourselves. We have a great lineup of entertainment, food vendors, craft vendors. It'll be a really great experience. We kick off April 21st and we'll run through April 23rd of this month. I thank you for your time. Should you have questions or would like more information, I encourage you to reach out to our office here in downtown Lemoore at 212 West D Street, or send us an email at info@gkcchamber.org. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on to ceremonial presentation. 1-1, recognition of former city council member James Chaney. The council would like to thank you for your time of service with council and offer you this gorgeous plaque with your mugshot on there. Do you want to say a couple of words?
Come on, Jim.
Jim, was this your high school picture?
I think so.
No, I just want to thank the council. It's been a pleasure working with everybody, including the city manager and the city clerk, our city attorney, the best attorney we could have had. So I just appreciate everybody. And as far as challenges, the mayor, I left before I fulfilled her challenge of arm wrestling, so I guess we'll leave it at that. So, but I do thank you, and I just God bless the council, the city staff, and I just I enjoyed my time, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jim. Can we take a picture? Right.
Really? You want to arm wrestle right here?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, sorry.
We're gonna arm wrestle.
Department and city manager reports. Mr. Olson?
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. So first up tonight is Captain Ochoa.
That's it.
Good evening, City Council and Madam Mayor. Tonight's update for our department, Chief Kendall's out of the office, so I'm obviously substituting for him tonight. But we brought on 2 new employees, a records technician, Madison Cherise, I believe, and then Evangelina Pimentel, who's our new CSO, Code Enforcement Animal Control Collateral Duties, that is also present in our meeting tonight. So if you guys can welcome both of them. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Welcome.
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 Okay, a few things coming out of my office. We declared an emergency at a special meeting last week with the current flood conditions going on in Kings and Tulare counties. But still our wells have been protected. They're sandbagged. We got plastic. We've got berms around them. We've gone out and double checked, did some reinforcements on them here earlier or at the tail end of last week. So we're pretty comfortable where we're at on our wells. We're also having discussions with the state on an emergency plan should our wastewater site become inundated with water. So we need a place to go with our wastewater for the city. So typically, if we were to shut off flows from our treatment plant, we have about 2 days we can go before you can't flush toilets. And then Lemoore has about 3 days of operation. But currently, the ranch that we use for our wastewater is at an elevation equal to the base. So it's actually higher than the surrounding and a lot of the ag land around it. So that serves us well. There's also a natural levee to help protect that field. So we don't anticipate that'll happen, but we're going to continue to talk to the state about all the farmland between here and in the base that should we have an issue, we can have somewhere to discharge to. We'll continue to go on that. And then I have had a couple calls on the Kmart building in the last few weeks. And as I was pulling in here tonight, I actually had one individual that stated they're gonna go after funding and try to purchase the Kmart. But so I wish them luck, and it's a local individual, and they're trying to use the King's EDC as part of the loan portfolio to get the building, which because Lemoore is a member of the EDC, all our businesses in Lemoore have that opportunity to go get funding if qualified through the EDC. So I wish that entrepreneur good luck on that and hopefully it comes to something, but
I have a question about that.
yes, sir.
Is there anything we can do to help this individual? Okay, you can ponder that and answer later.
Yeah,
second-
well,
The second question is, what is the intent? Like, what do they want to do with it?
not known at this, I can't disclose at this point.
Oh,
Until we get
you know, but
applications.
you're not allowed to tell. Okay, that's fine.
The
That's
way,
fine.
yeah, we can't disclose anything until we have actual applications.
I'm just glad to hear something finally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. As far. We looked at Kmart, there's some funds through impact fees, and I actually looked at that Kmart building as maybe a potential addition to rec services.
Yeah.
But just the building price itself
Yeah.
was way more than the city could support, but is there a potential for a joint venture, an MOU down the road for maybe a small section to do some things? Yes. but
Is that
would-
maybe how we could help this individual?
That would be a potential way to help this individual, but that would require
Yeah.
meetings with council and council approval and things like that. But, and that is the thought process moving forward. If we can carve out a little bit to help enhance our programs, because like I said, we do have some funds available to bring more recreational activities into Lemoore.
Right on.
Okay. And then, and coming out of planning, sorry, I got to get to my notes. Here it is. Sorry. So the sale of D and Smith has been completed as of last week. So that's the affordable housing. The grant application is being submitted this week. We've also received submittal to modify the approved site plan for 19th Avenue and Bush Project. Phase 1 included a restaurant, but they're reconfiguring. So the restaurant is included in phase 2. Staff currently, as presented, is in support of the modification, and we'll be going through the process. And lastly, we continue to work with a multitude of developers and business owners interested in operating in Lemoore. Still getting a lot of calls, a lot of interested parties. And I think I put it out at a previous meeting, but I'll put it out again. PG&E has recognized that the area between Merced and Bakersfield is a hot spot for economic development within the state, and specifically the Lemoore area in Kings County. So we are officially prioritized to get additional powers to Lemoore. So we should see, it's going to take a little bit of time to get power up here, but we got their attention. So I'm happy to report that. I'll report more as we go on. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Does that include possible streetlights for Iona and places like that?
Yeah, I've got Public Works working on that for you,
Okay.
Mr. Gornick. That's it.
That's it.
Mhm.
All right. Moving on to consent calendar, section 3. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. 3-1, approval of minutes, regular meeting, March 7th, 2023. 3-2, approval of minutes, special meeting, March 27th, 2023. 3-3, approval of budget amendment donation from Lemoore Lions Club. 3-4, approval resolution 2023-07 declaring public nuisance and ordering public hearing regarding property abatement. 3-5, approval resolution 2023-08 regarding public transit needs within the city of Lemoore and authorizing the filing of a claim for Transportation Development Act funds. 3-6, approval agreement between the city of Lemoore and County of Kings for the preparation of the 6th cycle multi-jurisdictional housing element update. 3-7, approval agreement between the city of Lemoore and Lemoore Volunteer Fire Department Association for ancillary services. 3-8, approval purchase of a new street sweeper for the refuse division in the amount of $402,751.41. So we already have 3-8 pulled for from a member of the public. Does council want to pull anything else?
I'd like to pull 3-6.
3-6. Anything else from council? Moving on to the public, is there anything that the public would like to? Pull?
Madam Mayor and Council, I respectfully request that we pull 3-4 from the consent calendar for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else from the public? Marissa, anything online? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar minus 3-4, 3-6, and 3-8.
Motion.
Second.
Any, many, mo. I have a motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick.
Aye.
And I vote yes. 3-4. I'm assuming I know why you pulled it, but I'm gonna let you ask what you would like to ask.
I appreciate that, Madam Mayor. I was hoping to get some clarification on the public nuisance and some more details on 3-4. Thank you.
You're up, Lieutenant.
Good evening, City Council, Madam Mayor. I'm Danny Santos. I'm a lieutenant for the Lemoore Police Department. And to answer Mr. Walker's question, that item is regarding 743 Quince. It's a single family residential residence in the city. Our community service officers have been attempting to get the homeowner to comply with our current municipal codes regarding the maintenance of properties. This particular residence has an excessive amount of scrap metal, vehicle parts, motor oil, etc., in the front driveway of the residence. Our goal is always to get compliance from the residents. In this case, our CSOs have been trying to obtain compliance since July of 2021. Giving this resident a lot of time to take care of these issues, and we're at the point where we need to take some action and get it corrected.
If I can ask a follow-up question. What would, if the council were to approve this item?
Mr. Walker, can you go ahead and approach the microphone?
I'm not that loud. That's right. If the council were to approve this item, what power would be available to the officers and what actions might be taken?
If this was declared a public nuisance, so the next step would be having a hearing, hopefully in the next council meeting. And at that point, if it is approved to abate the property, then we would seek either a company or the city refuse department to come out and collect all of the items from the front drive.
So to clarify, it's just to clean up the scrap metal. It's not seizing the property through eminent domain or anything like that.
Correct. They would get rid of all the debris and any material that is causing the property to be in violation of the code.
Thank you.
And then the city reserves the right to lien that property to recoup the funds if they choose not to take care of it on themselves. If we have to use city staff or hire somebody to come in and do that cleanup, we reserve the right to lien that property to get our money back in the future.
Thank you.
So go ahead, Mr. Warner.
Do you have any other properties in the queue?
No, just this one.
Just this one? Okay.
Yes.
And you said July of 2021, you guys have been dealing with this?
Yes. We're always trying to get compliance, and that's pretty much all we're looking for. In this case, we've made 12 attempts to get the compliance from the property owner, the resident, and we have not had any luck.
Do we know if the property owner's the resident or is it a renter?
The property owner is the resident
okay.
of the house, yes.
Okay.
Is it policy to wait that long? Or do you?
It's not policy. In this particular case, there were some attempts made, and then we saw partial attempt to resolve the issue, which caused the property for us to give them an extension. And that happened, then more stuff gathered, then the same thing happened again. We extended it, and now it's back. So here we are today.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council?
No.
No. All right, we'll go ahead and open up for public comment.
I did want to thank the lieutenant and the council for allowing me to pull the item, and thank you for your service. I appreciate you clarifying.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Orth and a second by Councilmember Gornick. And I can't write as fast as I talk. Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. 3-6, approval agreement between the city of Lemoore and County of Kings for the preparation of the 6th cycle multi-jurisdictional housing element update. Mr. Orth, did you have a specific question?
No, I just want him to go over it real quick.
Oh,
Good evening,
that's a big
Mayor and
thing.
Council.
Is it big?
Steve Brandt, City Planner. So the housing element is a portion of our general plan. It is the one element that the state gets to review and approve. And they set a timeline for when we update it. They call them cycles. So we're on the 6th cycle right now. So we and the other cities in Kings County, as well as Kings County, are required to update our housing element. So in the past cycles, these jurisdictions have chosen to do a combined housing element document. Obviously, there's economies of scale of doing that, and we have a good working relationship in doing so. So this agreement would be to say that the county would be driving the process. We would be participating both in providing information to the consultant that they hire and also providing a portion of the consultant's fee. I will add that the county is going to be going after a grant that would pay for hopefully all of this. So there's a potential that there would not be any cost in it. We just don't know what it is. So unfortunately, I tried to get some information today, talking to the project manager at the county. She said that the grant has not opened to be able to apply yet. But in looking at what it would allow, what it would pay for, she said, and this was her words, that it was very likely that they will get that grant. Also asked her what the consultant's proposed fees were coming in at, because the request for proposals closed yesterday. And she says she has not seen them yet. They're still stuck in county purchasing. So she'd be getting them later this week. So that's
Cool.
where we're at.
I had a meeting today and they brought that up, so that's the only reason why I asked. And anyways, I'm good.
any other comments or questions from council? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public for any questions or comments. Seeing none, I will bring it back to council.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Orth,
Aye.
Councilmember Gornick,
All right.
and I vote aye as well. 3-8, approval purchase of a new street sweeper for the refuse division in the amount of that dollar that I said already.
Good evening. So I did receive a public comment for this item and it reads, council members, I'd like to submit comment on the approval of the new city street sweeper being purchased to the price of more than $400,000. If the city of Lemoore is going to invest more than what the average house is worth in the city of Lemoore, they should also enact a no street parking during specific weekdays so that the street sweeper can perform its duties that it was purchased for. This no street parking for specific days of the week in identified neighborhoods, similar to the trash collection schedule, would be enforced by local law enforcement issuing citations for vehicles, RVs, and other items left on the curb. Any funds raised by the citations could assist in a surplus that would help pay for the new street sweeper. Thank you for your time, Thomas Turcott. Thank you.
Thank you. Council have any questions or comments? Anyone else? Okay, go ahead.
Jennifer Solis again, sorry, that comment made me remember an idea that Nathan and I had talked about, and I'm not sure where it landed, but it just reminded me of another option could be that the street sweeper be broken up over 2 days doing the same route. So instead of saying that you can't park on the street, we would just say everybody move to one side, park on one side of the street just during like this day and park on the other side of the street the other day. So that way the street sweeper could go through, because I think it would be a big ask. I don't think people would be able to not park on their street. So just triggering a memory of that conversation. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Bring it back to council.
Well, the other little complication to this matter is all the basketball hoops that are on the street.
Yeah.
Jennifer, your mic is still on.
I mean, I like the suggestion. I mean, not necessarily associated with the price, but in terms of just the orderly practice of keeping the streets clean, if because every once in a while, particularly with this wind, I've seen a number of those basketball across the sidewalks, they get blown over. So, interesting.
Take note.
Which, just another comment. Did we ever get the other garbage truck back in action that tipped over on the?
As of 3 weeks ago, no, it's close.
It's close.
It's close. Another month, Frank? Okay, we're close.
Good.
It's like brand new now, almost.
I guess. Yeah.
It would have to be.
This new street sweeper, it's gonna be diesel, correct? Or gas of some sort?
Well, it's being 272,000 is being funded from CMAQ. So it's so we're paying the 130, and this one,
Not electric, is.
no, it's not electric.
Okay,
It would cost a lot more.
I know, I just,
All day to charge.
I believe it's diesel. but-
6 days to charge
Oh,
it.
you have Brandon online? Can you verify if it's diesel?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Sorry if it's a little windy. I'm out here in Monterey, but
Rub it in.
Oh,
can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, kinda.
Okay. So the street sweeper is diesel, but it is significantly cleaner than the current 06 street sweeper that we run that goes down all the time. That's why we were able to get the CMAQ grant fund for it, which, as Nathan stated, covers 272. And then I just wanted to put out there today that we did upload as well a sweeper schedule to our online. The residents will be able to see what day the sweeper is coming through. So if possible, they will be able to, not have their cars out on the street. But at this time, the sweeper will go around the cars, but they won't skip the street just because the cars are out there. But the sweeper is being mostly covered by the grant, and we do have a schedule up to kind of help residents the best we can.
Thank you, sir.
He just had to throw that Monterey comment in.
Exactly.
Yeah, he had to rub it in a little bit.
That's
The one time his item gets pulled and it's not here.
Looking for a motion?
Sure.
Motion to approve 3-8.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Orth and a second by Councilmember Lyons. Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Gornick,
All right.
and I vote aye as well. We have no public hearings, so we will move on to new business, section 5.1, report and recommendation, audit report for year end June 30th, 2022.
I don't see it.
Look, good evening,
Not
Mayor and
see.
council members. So, yeah, Miss Spear is actually on vacation this week, so.
At least she didn't call it
Yeah,
and
we
rub it
couldn't
in.
have.
Yeah.
I said a better time than you.
But we do have our auditor here, so I would like to have turned it over to Brian.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Brian Henderson, Hudson Henderson and Company, with the audit firm responsible for conducting your financial statement audit for fiscal year ending June 30, 2022. I'll go over some highlight changes We'll go over required communications and then real brief financial results. I can put you all to sleep with financial numbers. One big change this year was actually on my end, and it had to do with some new auditing standards and my report to you. So as part of the Auditor Clarity Project, I have a new report for you. No one seems to find it more clear, unfortunately. What it does is it brings my opinion to the front of the report, but then also it clarifies and brings into more detail the city's responsibilities and the auditor's responsibilities. So I've mentioned this before, but our responsibility is to issue an opinion that provides reasonable assurance that the financial statements are presented in all material respects. It does not address the financial condition of the city. It does not address or responsible for detecting fraud. We do not issue an opinion on internal control. However, we do analyze internal controls as part of our risk assessment in determining the financial statements and whether or not they're materially misstated. We do perform tests over city's compliance with certain provisions of law, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements. This year, that includes a single audit. I'll note that in a minute. The city is ultimately responsible for the preparation and presentation of the financial statements to ensure that they're presented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. They're responsible for maintaining effective controls and the design, implementation, and effectiveness of them to determine that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. Hence the kind of recurring theme there. So we are really there to issue an opinion on the financials. We issued our reports. We do several reports for you. One is the TDA financial statement standalone audit that was issued on March 15th in accordance with regular audit standards, yellow book standards, also known as governmenting auditing standards, and TDA compliance. That was an unmodified opinion, also known as a clean opinion, that the financial statements are fairly presented. And with the TDA component, there's a compliance piece. And so there was no issues of non-compliance on the TDA Act. For the city itself, we conduct our audit, normal auditing standards, yellow book, as well as single audit or the uniform guidance this year. Those reports were issued on March 10th. So nice and timely. And we issued an unmodified opinion, also known as a free or clean opinion. Financial statements are free of all material misstatement. With the audit report, we have over the financial statements, but then we also have the yellow book report where we analyze internal controls and compliance over general contracts. I say general because it's not specific to single audit. And this year we had no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies. So that's a testament to the city finance team, Michelle and her team, in rectifying issues that have been previously identified as part of the financial closing process. This is our 4th year doing the audit, our 1st year free and clear, no findings. So that's a great improvement and testament to them. With the single audit, that is based on your federal awards. And so this year, jumping a little, there was 6.5 million in federal expenditures that were, or federal awards that were expended. Vast majority of that was in the CARES program, and 6.4 of that. We conducted our single audit in accordance with the uniform guidance as written by the Office of Management and Budget in DC. It's very black and white what we're required to do on that. And no audit findings on that, no compliance issues and no internal control issues for the single audit either. The biggest changes this year, we did one additional report. We also do agreed upon procedures on your annual appropriations limit, also known as GAN. That was also issued on 3/10. No exceptions noted. The biggest change this year on the financial statements themselves is the implementation of GASB 87, also known as leases, where we record either a lease receivable as a leaseor or a lease payable when there's a lease situation where we're leasing. In this particular case, it's office equipment and police vehicles. In the prior history, we use leases as either a capital lease or an operating lease. This is part of GASB and AICPA's overall project over the last 10, 15 years to bring some of these off balance sheet transactions onto your balance sheet. And so, especially with leases, lease receivables never were recorded before. It was We have this lease, we're gonna receive this money over time. So now we book it at the net present value, future discounted cash flows. And we book a lease receivable and deferred inflows. Mostly for the city of Lemoore, it's land leases. Both in the general fund and sewer and refuse fund, about 610,000 total. That's the discounted flows. As the payments are received, we offset the receivable with a little bit of imputed interest or implicitly stated interest, depending on the actual lease. The lease payable is recorded with an offset with an asset, or it's not quite a capital asset. It's a right to use asset. We treat it as a capital asset for the most part. And for government, that was office equipment and then 2 police vehicles that are essentially capital leases. So at the end, they become the city's property. Those were in total of 114,000. Those were the biggest changes on the financials this year. Another pretty large GASB change. Sensitive estimates affecting the financials are the pension liability as well as your leases. Pension liability is driven by actuarial data and lots of actuarial assumptions in that number. Financial statement disclosures are neutral, consistent, clear. We had no difficulties conducting the audit. In fact, we had no audit adjustments this year. And so we just had some minor reclass entries just for financial statement presentation purposes over revenues and breakout of long-term, short-term receivables, but nothing to note in the audit report or even of any significance. No major disagreements with management. We obtained the representations on the audit report dates. We're unaware of any other independent consultations. And as I mentioned, no other audit findings or issues. We had one prior year finding, significant deficiency over capital asset disposals that was properly implemented in the current year. We did have the single audit, as I mentioned, and so that was new for the city of Lemoore. There hadn't been one, I believe, since 2008 or 9 or 2018 or 19. Our audit testing was in January. So we started in 2 weeks in January, issuing in March. It's a pretty quick turnaround, but again, with a clean audit and obtaining all the information timely makes that very possible to do. Overall, the city has assets of 211 million. That's up 16 million as compared to last year. Liabilities of 49 million. That's down 7 million from the prior year, leaving a net position or equity of 157 million. That's an increase of 16 million from the prior year. That's on full accrual GAAP, slightly different than kind of the fund basics that you're used to seeing though, for the most part. Of that net position, 25 million is considered unrestricted. 20 million of that is in your enterprise funds, 5 million in your governmental funds. But overall, a very clean audit, and I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
That's it. That's like that went quick.
Mhm.
Any questions?
Did it go quick because of Michelle or did it go quick because we're just doing good?
Both. Obviously because of Michelle and Jocelyn and the finance team, but also your consultants that you use do a very nice job of tidying up the books for us.
So when you say tidying up the books, first of all, congratulations to the city staff on getting a clean audit. That's good.
Now we know why
But
Michelle
when you
took a
say
vacation.
tidying up the books, has the implementation of the software helped you in terms of access and clarity of the?
No, when I say tidy up the books, I'm referring to the financial close process.
Okay.
And so really that's most cities, counties, governments operate on a cash basis for the most part,
Right.
12 months out of the year. Then we have this magical 13th month in accounting. That's where we look at the long-term items, the receivables, capital assets, but then also looking at payables, compensated absences, pension liabilities. And so the financial closing process is often very tedious, especially with a city.
Yeah. You know, it was interesting. You're right. This is a totally new approach to auditing in terms of putting all your stuff in the front. The paragraph that was interesting to me was the first paragraph, because at the last sentence in the first paragraph, it says, accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of the city's internal control.
Mhm.
But yet you give us a good mark on.
But we note if there's any problems.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then there's a paragraph that says, our consideration of internal control was for the limited purpose described in the first paragraph. Yeah, so
Oh.
So my question is, so how do we know we got a problem?
Oh, we would know.
Well, tell me how. I mean, I just like to know how. I mean,
Because I said so.
Red flag.
yeah. I mean,
We spend a lot of time evaluating internal controls. So
okay.
we identify the key transaction, counting cycles, cash disbursements, receipts, payroll, financial close are the.
Yeah, I mean,
are the
that's,
big boys.
that kind of stuff is left out of this in terms of what you do in terms of looking at internal controls.
Oh, we look at it.
Yeah.
Now, we don't issue an opinion. What I mean by that is the only entities that are required to have an opinion on internal control effectiveness are publicly traded companies.
Right. But we could request that if we wanted, right?
You could.
Yeah. Okay. I just
It'd be
curious.
expensive, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure it would be. Yeah, I'm sure it would be. Yeah.
It would be.
Yes, there's a reason the big four
Oh, the
auditing
Big Four.
companies audit those big boys because they charge the big dollars. But we do enough testing on internal controls to lower our control risk, which obviously which in turn lowers our audit risk of identifying material misstatements.
Yeah, I
So
wish
we
Michelle
do
was
a
here
substantial
because
amount.
not two reasons. I'd like to congratulate her and her staff too, but part of this whole implementing this whole software approach was to, streamline our processes and save some time for staff and all those kinds of things and improve accuracy but you can't tell us whether or not that's helped. She probably have a
Oh, I
better
can
idea.
tell you
of
it
that.
helped, but I can't speak for them.
Yeah.
But with one thing to note too, is with the single audit, you're required to be done within 9 months
Right.
and submitted to the federal clearinghouse. We have met that.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from?
Yeah, I'd like it to be noted that Mr. Gornick offered a compliment to Mrs. Spear.
Right.
Put on the
It's on the record.
Yeah, and you, sir, I read your report and I know that
You did
is.
not read your report.
I did too. Are you kidding me? That is a lot of information and to the normal person would be like reading stereo instructions probably, but I found it easy to follow. I understood it and I appreciate it and I thank you as well. And I would not want your job.
Yeah,
Right.
you guys do a good job. Thank you very much. And Nathan, Michelle, we don't see her in the next couple of weeks. Thank her for me. They did, everyone, all the staff did a great job on it. To have a clear audit is, I think, good.
Absolutely.
Good.
Any questions or comments from the public?
Of course.
Thank you again. I had a question for the gentleman. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You mentioned that you do not examine it for fraud or if we're not financially healthy. Is that correct?
You're very choice with your words. We review fraud and determining our risk assessment as to whether or not there could be fraud that could lead to a material misstatement in the financial statements themselves. That's the first part. What was the other part?
Financial health, how do you assess?
Oh, well, we don't give an opinion on the financial health. Now, we do evaluate going concern, and that's in our report. So we're required to evaluate whether or not the city is likely to continue as operational for one operating cycle or 1 year subsequent to our report. So we want to avoid being like the city of Stockton who filed bankruptcy.
And then thank you for the clarification. As a follow-up, and this is to the city manager, council, or the gentleman. What safeguards are in place to detect fraud and also to ensure that we're not running into red?
So public contract code is very strict on how we have to go about requisitioning, spending dollars. There's thresholds and limits. So we follow the public contract code. And then as part of our annual budget cycles, that's when we report out on the reserves and the general fund and things of that nature. This year, we did actually put money back into the general fund for I think the third year in a row.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I too want to echo council's gratitude towards staff for the zero findings. Great job, and it's good to see that. So thank you all. We don't have to do anything with that, right?
File it.
All right, so we'll
Wow.
move on to 5-2, report and recommendation, resolution 2023-09, accepting the general plan annual progress report. Mr. Brandt.
Ma'am, can I, before we start, is this, I'd like to make a motion to pull this item till we have so we can have a study session at a future meeting. Just to kind of go over these sections and have a good understanding of some of them.
Steve, is there a time limit the state requires for filing this?
The state
Or
asked that we
approving
file this by April 1st. So.
Yeah.
um,
So Steve, correct me. This is just an update of what we've
This
been
is
doing towards our current general plan. This is not anything for
doesn't-
future general
Yeah,
plans or anything.
approving
beyond
this
that.
does not change our direction. It doesn't do any, it's just a report to you on what has been done. So
So when we
If-
were talking earlier about making some changes in the general plan with respect to maybe even some zoning, things of that nature, when are we going to have an opportunity to look at some of those things and add or delete? from
those
that?
will be coming up in the next few months. In fact, I'm going to be talking to the planning commission at the next meeting about some of the zone changes.
Okay,
So we'll be talking about those over the next few
so
months.
this doesn't necessarily affect that?
No, this doesn't make any changes to the general plan. This is just reporting to you and to the state what has been done in
Okay.
implementing the current general plan. So, one of the purposes of it is to get you guys thinking and seeing what has done and what hasn't been done. And then you can give us direction or redirection because of it. So the fact that reading the report has led you to come up with the idea of like, hey, let's have a study session. That's kind of one of the purposes of the report.
Okay.
Is to get you to start thinking.
You want some thoughts now?
Let's do a study session.
I will take thoughts whenever, but
Well,
it's more of if you want to give us maybe some topics that we can bring up at the next study session, that might be a good direction.
I'd be happy to do it in a study session rather than take our time now.
Okay.
Good.
So yeah, so this is a report that the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, who we affectionately call OPR, and the State Department of Housing and Community Development, who we call HCD, requests that we prepare and send to them each year. HCD is the same office will be reviewing the housing element when that gets prepared. So it has every policy that is in your general plan in it. And then we prepared comments of what has been done in it. So as you see, when you go through it, a lot of the policies were implemented when the zoning ordinance was updated in 2012 and then had some tweaks done to it in 2014. And a lot of the policies are ongoing policies that we use to apply to proposed development projects as they come up. So there's some things in there that you'll see that we just haven't done yet. And those are some things maybe we could get direction on if you want to do so. But for now, this is just reporting to you what has been done so far on the general plan.
And it was due 4 days ago, 3 days ago.
Due 3 days ago. I would not be surprised if we are not the only city that hasn't turned it in yet.
Okay,
So if we get it in 5 days late, they'll be ecstatic.
good to hear that.
So the notations in the report that are in blue, those are ones that I didn't see your legend in here, or are those you're just separating that because of the way it's written?
That's just separating it to make it easier to
Easy
read.
for the eyes. Okay.
Easy on the eyes. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Any comments or questions from council?
So move.
Got to open up to the public first. We'll open up to public for public comment. Do you have any online, Marissa? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to council. Mr. Gornick made a motion.
Yep.
Second,
Do we approve this? Okay. Mr. Gornick made the motion, Mr. Orth seconded it. Councilmember
Aye.
Gornick, Councilmember Orth,
Aye.
Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
All right.
5-3, report and recommendation appointment of city council applicant for District B, Ms. Avalos. Please refresh our memories to this process.
Good evening. So earlier this evening, council heard from 3 applicants for the vacant city council member seat for District B. So at this time, we're looking for a motion to appoint one of the applicants for that vacancy.
I would like, before a motion is made, I'd like to say with Mr. Garza, Mr. Cope, and Mr. Brown, I don't think we could make a bad decision on this. I really don't. I applaud all 3 of you guys for stepping forward and putting your name in the hat. It is a bit of an iceberg job. You only see a little bit of it, and there's a lot more than that's behind the scenes. And with that being said, because I know Mr. Brown has been there and done it, that's my only reason for wanting to make a nomination for him. But I applaud the both of you. I really do. I'd like to motion for Mr. Brown.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
There's no motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Have a motion by Councilmember Lyons, a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
I mean,
Orth.
Orth,
Aye.
Councilmember Gornick,
No,
and I vote no as well.
Motion failed.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we seed Mr. Garza for council area B.
Is there a second? I'll second. The motion by Councilmember Gornick and a second by me, Councilmember Gornick.
Aye.
Do I say my vote?
Mhm.
I vote aye. Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
Councilmember Orth,
Yes,
Motion passed.
motion passed.
that's 4.
Great.
Congratulations.
All right, so I invite Mr. Garza up here. Oh, I'm just gonna move to the next item for administer of oath of office. Oh, sorry, I printed 3 of them.
Yep, 5-4.
Yeah. Actually, if I can have you stand in front of me, yeah. So I'm actually gonna read you the oath of office. If you can raise your right hand, and at the end you can state I do. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. All righty, and then if I can have a signature and. All righty, thank you. You can have a seat up at the dais.
Congratulations, good for you.
Welcome. Okay. Does council have any comments on what just happened? Yeah.
Do I have any comments? No, I just thank you for the opportunity and I will be here 100% for the city.
Anybody else have any comments?
Is this where we give our reports?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations.
I'd like to just start off by saying we had 3 great candidates. I don't think the city could have lost in this opportunity, so it worked out the best it is. I mean, we did good.
Good.
Anyone from the public have any comments? Mr. Walker.
You're gonna wear that thing out.
I always have to remember to put it back down here because I'm a bit taller than the other members of the public here tonight, but I just want to congratulate you on your appointment. Also, again, thank the candidates who put their name in the hat. Service is a virtue. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to having meetings with you in your new role. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay, Mr. Brown first, and then we'll go online.
Dave Brown, 89 Devon Drive. Just want to say to the council, I support your decision. Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Anything you do, let me know. Just want to say, guys are doing a good job. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave.
The online public comment.
Hello, Benjamin Kayakina again with the Greater Kings County Chamber of Commerce. Councilmember Garza, congratulations on your new appointment. And for the 2 candidates that stepped forward, I want to say thank you as citizens to this community. I highly encourage you to stay involved in the community, and I will be in contact with you here in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we will move on to brief city council reports and requests, section 6-1. You can start us out, Mr. Garza.
I have no reports.
You will know.
Councilmember Lyons.
So welcome aboard, Mr. Garza. It's like I said, it's an iceberg, and you're gonna learn real quick, I hope. And the Commission on Aging, I just spoke with Bobby Wharton. She's the director over there, and everything's going good. She's got plenty of funding right now, and Commission on Aging is doing well compared to in the past. And that's about all I have right now. And thank you to all of our police department, fire department, city staff. Things are, never mind. I'm not going to jinx it. Just, yes, I'm done.
Councilmember Orr.
I want to thank city staff, police and fire for everything you guys do. I really want to thank the finance department. I kind of was a little concerned about this audit, not concerned, just it looks good from when we started 2 years ago to where we're at today. It looks like the ship is actually going in the right direction from our
Don't jinx it.
leadership. So Nathan, you guys are doing a good job, everybody. Very, all the department heads, everyone's doing good. What else? You're a blank. Thank you very much for everyone showing up, and thank you, the 3 candidates. It's like echo his, it's an iceberg, but I think it'll work out good. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Mr. Forney.
Yeah, I wanted to thank again, the 3 candidates who spoke tonight. I've done that before. I know what it's like, so I appreciate your willingness to serve the city. I also want to thank the mayor and Councilmember Orr for being recognized for their work with the county. Appreciate that. And I had 2 unsolicited comments today or not this week, from this past week, from citizens about our public works people being prepared for the excess water that might be coming our way and what's occurred. So my hat's off to you guys, Frank, and your crew. The citizens are noticing that, and Nathan, your leadership as well. And I think that's good. We're going to have a tough couple of 6 months, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. That's it.
So I asked for a quick turn. I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Garza. Welcome aboard. And I'd like to give a shout out to the Lemoore Lions Club. A lot of times the donations don't always get the recognition they deserve, especially when they go on the consent calendar, but nice little donation. It's going to help fund the Easter egg hunt. So we appreciate it. So shout out to Lemoore Lions. Thank you.
That was the first thing on my list.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. thank Lemoore Lions Club for their donation to help for our Easter event that the city's going to be putting on this coming Saturday, actually. So make sure that you show up to that. It's going to be great, huge, awesome event. You don't want to miss it. I attended the Cal Cities membership meeting. Since we haven't had a council meeting in a while, there's a little bit, sorry. Cal Cities membership meeting in Bakersfield with the city manager, Mr. Olson, which was a good meeting. I also attended the Sarah Mooney board meeting, which was great. They're doing a lot of things over there at the Sarah Mooney Museum and keeping the place well kept and offering things to the public. They were talking about maybe trying to go to the school board and bring back, I don't know if any of you are old enough to have gone to the Mooney Museum in a second or third grade and check it out either during Christmas season. That's when I went. But they're going to try to talk to the school board and see if they can bring that back. So just to give students in our community a little bit more history of our community. I also attended the birthday celebration for Sarah Mooney on April 1st. Councilmember Orth also attended. It was very well attended, beautiful day for that. It was a great celebration. I also met with Mr. Alonso from PG&E. He gave me the same information that he gave our city manager with regard to I'm not PG&E's biggest fan, and I think they know that. So when he gave me some positive stuff, I was like, all right, I'll give you a shot. I mean, as long as you follow through, but just know we're going to stay on you. So we want to get stuff done in our community, and we don't want to let them hold us back. So we're going to keep them to the fire. But it was a good meeting. Good things came out of it. I attended the Transportation, Communication, and Public Works Policy Committee. Everything's moving along there, still getting everything in order for the policies coming forward. KWRA, everything is moving along there. Potential for the rate increase for the what's it called? Like you weren't there, I can't ask you. The tipping fee, that's what it's called. Yeah, the tipping fee. Just because there's some waste out there. It's called C&D. People aren't really wanting to take it. You're not allowed to let it build up. We're getting quite the pile out there. So we're going to have to find something to do with it. It's not going to be cheap, but they are working on doing everything they can to not increase rates. So I'll keep you updated. As far as that goes, I also had the pleasure of attending the Women in History Luncheon, which our captain was one of the recipients of an award for that. So I want to congratulate her. Awesome luncheon, great, phenomenal women in our area of Kings County being recognized. It's a pleasure that I do most of them. We just a testament to the great women that we have in leadership here in Kings County and in Lemoore. So it was an awesome event, and I just want to congratulate you again, Captain Ochoa. And yeah. I did attend the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Citizen Advisory Committee this morning. Still learning that committee. There's a lot of information. I do have a couple of visuals of the work that they've done to lower emissions. This is the diesel emissions reduction trend in the valley from of where it's going. And this is pretty outstanding. But even with that, they want to continue to push the bar and to continue to force even greater regulations and restrictions. When a lot of our pollution doesn't have anything to do with our industry here, it's coming from other areas. So I will be I don't sit on the actual board. I am on the Citizen Advisory Board. So I will be contacting our member that sits on the board, which is Supervisor Rusty Robinson, and letting him know my thoughts on that. So yeah, they're doing a lot of good. But I'll save that for Rusty. So, I also want to thank, Planning Commissioner Ray Etchegoin, sorry, for coming tonight. Thank you for being here and taking part in this meeting as well. Appreciate it. And with that, that's all I have. So we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting.